Okay, so let's do that now. Thank you.
Emmanuel Tarfa has been a management consultant for the last 14 years and over that period advised a mix of over 140 companies, entrepreneurs, and leaders across 250 projects. His consulting functional expertise cover corporate strategy, interim management, business transformation, IGR optimization, public policy development, and corporate finance. Emmanuel has been a part of and led various strategic planning and facilitation sessions for several leading organizations, including the CBN, Lagos State Government through the Ministry of Education, Ogun, Plateau, and Kaduna State governments, to name a few. He has also been involved and was pivotal in the strategy development and execution of popular brands, including Bamboo Invest, Ribi Finance, Max Okada, Ruffle Ensemble, to name a few. Currently a partner at Enzo Krypton and Company, a strategy consulting firm based in Lagos, Nigeria. Emmanuel co-leads a set of brilliant consultants who were mostly developed and specially trained to become leaders across industries. Emmanuel is pivoting his professional career to focus on democratizing the functional expertise Enzo Krypton has developed and successfully deployed to build a competent Africa that is able to utilize its projected 700 million youth. Here with us at Grow Conference 2023, make welcome Dr. Emmanuel Tarfa.
Hallelujah. Thank you very much. Good afternoon, everyone. All right, the introduction has been done. I will just observe protocol. Of course, you expect, okay, you thank Pastor for inviting you. No, this is really serious, and I really must give it to your pastor. Please put your hands together for your pastor. It's not just standing on existing protocol. I think he's an amazing man. And when he came down from the pulpit, I told him I would explain to him why I think his session was amazing. He doesn't know, but he would find out. He also said some things about me that I found surprising, but I'll talk about that shortly. And of course, Pastor Femi, thank you. I'm sure you're my sponsor. Please clap for Pastor Femi. Clap for Pastor Femi. If you don't have sponsors, somebody will not call your name. I've never been here. See me in here now, I was sponsored. Hallelujah. Please clap for Pastor Femi again. Pastor Femi used to be with us in Lagos. He was in our church. We said we grew together, and we're still growing in the Lord. And of course, his wife too. Hello, ma. I also have to appreciate the leadership of the church, the elders. Thank you so much for having me. It's sincerely an honor and a privilege to be here. My co-facilitator, thank you, sir. God bless you. I will look for you in Lagos. Don't worry, I will not lead you into sin. And then we'll have a great time. And of course, the Dr. Alilaja that left also, I'm extend my regards to her, and I'm sure we'll catch up. All right, of course, the EA, Damilola, who has been helping around. Or is it Dolako? Sorry. Thank you so much. God bless you. I said I appreciate you. Ladies and gentlemen, now I'm going to begin, and I will throw a sound of warning, even though there's no need. I usually give a warning, and the warning is that you hear some things you never heard before. But I'm now comfortable because your pastor actually connects with that. And I'm shocked. In fact, I'm not scared. I'm like, Pastor, hey, Joe, slow down. This one, he's driving Ferrari on the matter. Some of us, when we started, we were blacklisted in church. And not my church, and other churches. They put us one side. My own church, I thank God, they encouraged and celebrated. It was a unique perspective about the church and the challenges, because we started asking questions. That these things, we can't have so much church. We have more churches than schools, hospitals, and boreholes combined. But we're not seeing results. So we're now wondering, I think more than boreholes. Maybe not more than boreholes because of, everybody's digging their bore. But at the point, more than boreholes. But the point was, how far now? Daniel, Joseph, 3 guys took down a kingdom, one of the most powerful kingdoms. Joseph shut down Egypt. Then me and you are looking at ourselves. So we said, what exactly is the problem? But I don't want to get into the hypotheses we postulated and all the theories we had, which we are still going over them one by one. But he is now connecting with that, and he's taking us on a very deep dimension. I'm sure we'll build a good relationship by the grace of God. So thank you, Pastor, for that. I appreciate and honor you. He's a revolutionarist, if that's the word for it. Now, I have a very hard job. I have to compress everything you saw on the board about my experience in 45 minutes. I also know that I have a multidimensional audience. So I'm going to be very, very strategic about what I want to say and what I want to share. Hallelujah. Just follow me for a second, setting up time so that I can measure my time. All right. In addition to that, okay. In addition to time, I would also pay attention to. Okay, I think we can just go ahead since we're recording. All right. So I would begin by segmenting the audience, so that I leave here connecting with everybody. Everybody came expectant, and the prayer I prayed to God before coming here was, yes, I prayed about this, is that I'll be able to meet everybody at the point of their needs. You came with high expectations. I mean, there was billboards, for goodness sake. I can't come and fall your hand, right? Exactly. So I need to be able to, I don't want to leave a student hanging like, oh God, I'm confused. No, I will connect with you, and I promise, by the grace of God, God speaking through me, I would reach you. So students, number one segment. Number two segment is the unemployed. You really are clueless, and it's fine. Don't be ashamed. You know, even as pastor is pumping in your head, you're still, oh God, I'm still not doing anything. I still can't get my hand. I've tried options, it's not working. The third person is the budding entrepreneur, aka, small business, very small business. I will also try and connect with you because your challenges are unique. The fourth one is the fast-growing companies. You know you are promising, things are growing, things are happening, you're getting clients, you're getting busier. And then lastly, if they're here, entry, mid-level, or rather entry and mid-note, companies that are like corporates, MTN, okay, and so on and so forth. But in case they're not here. Now, that is on the career side, right? In terms of employed, right? Even though that thing has a big question mark, and I'll explain later if I have time. But for the entrepreneurs, right, the business owners, on the other side, we have people who are, who have been at it for a while, and are exploring options. I would like to really connect with you on how that would work. So we have students, unemployed, career folks across levels, and entrepreneurs. All right? That is clear. Now, so I'm going to set some context, and I have to be speaking to everybody simultaneously, so forgive me, I may flip in between so that I can connect. It's not very easy to come and speak after great speakers. There's a lot of weight, so you have to carry. Do you understand what I'm saying? So it's a very difficult task that your pastor has given me, but I trust God to help us to begin the job. Now let me say things like this, and I talk like this to get your attention. I say very borderline controversial things, like borderline, or things that will get you thinking, but it's not really to impress you. It's to wake you up and get you to think, and so that we can relate, all right? My pastor says when God asks you questions, it's not because he doesn't have answers, he's God. It's because he wants you to think in some cases, all right? All right, so let's begin. Now, in as much as the topic is about growth and economic outlook, I would honestly and sincerely not, you see, that's the problem. We're in church, and one of the weaknesses of church is that we flatter ourselves too much. So, but when I'm talking, if it's not true, I'll keep quiet. So when I go to environments and they tell me, you're very quiet, I'm quiet because you guys are yarning dust. Are you following me? And I cannot publicly argue with you like pastors who be honorable. These are the values we learn from church. So we don't go on social media and insult people. I don't do those things. Abuse companies. We believe in the honor that we've received from church. All right? And that's a good thing for this generation. You can't go around and insult it. If your children come and insult you, how would you feel? You just have to find a way, pray for people, and also leadership is hard. So I don't talk, but when it's true, I say it. So here is one that is true, and I'll say it. And that is that your pastor actually delivered the economic outlook lecture. Even him acknowledged that he already said some of the things I said. So I don't want to re-emphasize what he said, thankfully. And I was led not to go in that direction. In as much as it's my own field, it's my bread and butter. We eat it like chewing gum. You understand what I'm saying? I'm not a trainer. I was trying to explain to him that. And I'm not trying to sound arrogant. It's just that I'm upset and I'm passionate. And you understand why. So, I'm not a trainer. I'm not a HR professional. With all due respect. No, I'm a bit hither to that. I am at a strategic level. We sit down with the owners of the company and the people that decide. So I've never really gotten used to, if I had to train myself how to write bids, because all our lives, all these 250 projects, they were all referral, well, about 98% referral. So we have to be careful, because if they said us to bid, we're like, if you can't come, we won't come. You know what I'm saying? Of course, God is helping us now, don't mind me, I'm not. So God has really, really helped us in that area. And we're still, looking forward to the next level of our pivot. So he did deliver on that. And this is what I would tell you. Yes, you say I'm flattering your pastor because he invited me, but I'm not. He delivered a crude oil message. There's something called crude oil message. A crude oil message is you have to pass it through the fractional distillation. to distill all the various petrochemical options that can come out of it, from diesel, fuel, and even PPE or whatever they call those things. Are you following what I'm saying? Now, sounds like flattery again. That means you have to listen again. You have to take out blocks of the points he made and then take those as series of research to dig in further. Some of you are looking at what this guy is saying. You would understand very, very shortly. Now, Pastor Femi, this is where I'm upset. I'm a bit frustrated, Pastor. And you use some strong words so I can borrow. I have some roles, and it's affecting my KPI. One, the budget they gave me is between 25 million and 40 million per annum in salary. They said I can fill it. If I fill it, of course, it benefits me. It moves us forward. We've been at this for 6 months. We've not found somebody. Now, when I told some people yesterday, they were very upset with me. They said, shut up, Jare. Why can't I sit down? So I'm daring anyone listening to me. I want to sound like your pastor. If you're here and you can take up the job to come and manage a business, between 25 and 40 M is on the table. See me after the service. And please, I may be arrogant. If I ask you one question, you may say and I'll move on because I don't have time. It's not my fault. I have two. I have a 900K associate level, 900K per month. The last guy we took, he dropped off. We managed him. We're like, we're angry. Like, you want to pay someone? Because we didn't see. We have 500 here, 400 here, 300 there. FOC. That's what I do. People have called me. One called me that day. Big organization. You know the organization. I said, Emmanuel Tarfa, please, you need to help me. I need head of strategy. Blah, blah, blah. Okay, how much? She said 10 million. Let them manage like 10M. I said, man, I don't know where I'll find that person. And I was scratching my head. So he wondered, okay, so why did you go and apply for the job? If I apply for the job, you think I'll be here? How many jobs can I apply for? So when business owners ask me and say they will pay me equity, for like, how many companies do you want to take equity? You want to take equity in CBN too? I can't take, so you have to choose like a teacher. You have to just keep training. You can't follow your students to their next destination. So I understand my role and I'm comfortable there. Do you understand what I'm saying? Hello? So you're looking at me like, so that's the problem. Like, but some people don't believe what I'm saying, and that's what frustrates me and upsets me. I just told you I have open roles. Yes, 25 to 40 M to run a business. Number 2 in command, or 3. Are we together? So, what is the problem? Pastor, you've dealt with that, and I've told them you should go and do fractional distillation on your sermon. And I'll explain again later. Remind me, sir, or not you, let me ask somebody else. Remind me, sir, I can't be asking you, Pastor. Remind me to tell you what that is about. So, let's take it into 2. Let me begin with students, even though I'll talk to you last. Students, listen to me. If you're in a public, if you're going to a Nigerian university, which obviously the model will change soon, but I don't want to give the secret too much because I want to also quickly prepare myself so that when the policy comes, I would also be part of it. But I will hint you, a lot of these schools that are erupting, that look like alternatives, may become the norm. So if I had my way, I mean, university is good for other reasons. Let me tell you why university is good for relationships. You probably meet your spouse there. You know, if you meet her there, it's better for you. At least you've seen it all. It's good for fellowship, revival, like my pastor, Pastor Lily, he has been here, right? Pastor Lily, that's my grandfather. So he's, father, the grandfather is, I don't want to mention grandfather. Are you following my spiritual father? So, university, I'm telling you the benefits of it before I go to the bad stuff. It helps you to fellowship because God is gathering you, camping you, like School of the Prophets, to release you. So before you go out to the corporate world, that's where your priesthood is established. If you know what you're doing, if you're not doing eye service, you understand, university has a lot of eye service. If you are really grounded and you pick it there, that becomes your priesthood. You're ordained there, your altar is laid, and then you just build after that when you get to the corporate world. But respectfully speaking, you're wasting your time. You know why? You guys come out, and not you guys here. They come out, and they're literally useless to us. And it's quite annoying because you have cases, people reading stuff like human resource management, and we can't have conversations on HR issues. So what did you spend 4 years doing? Now, it's not your fault. It's the cabal that runs the system. Do you understand what I'm saying? It's the cabal. Are you following what I'm saying? Of which some of us are all related to them, whether as fathers, parents, and it's all with due respect, we honor them. But it's an unfortunate cabal. And cabals hold systems for a while. It's part of, when you two become big, you will become a cabal. It just happens somehow. You understand? It's like elders at the gates type of stuff. But here is the thing. You have to invest in personal development. And that's what I've committed the rest of my maybe my third life now, because I'm in my third career, third pivot, to focus on. After that, I'll decide what next. But we want to focus on the subject of competence. Now, everybody that knows me and listens to me knows that I oscillate around that topic. Competence. So I'm going to just dive into it, and I hope I connect with you. So you have to invest in personal development. In other words, you have to send yourself to school. Are we together? So you have to re-educate yourself. Now, here's the trick. The problem with the education system is it does not provide context. Let me quickly explain how. So your maths teacher walks into the class, and he says, I want to teach you quadratic equation. So he says, example 1. He gives example, explaining quadratic equation, right? First example, first scenario. He looks at the textbook and he picks a second scenario. Please follow me. This is important. He picks a second scenario. He's teaching quadratic equation, but he's showing you different types, different shades. You know, green has shades, Abi? So different types. So, okay, this one is x plus x. This one is x times x. Different scenario. These are not accurate, but I'm just giving you. Then he now gives you classwork, a third scenario. Then he leaves. You know what happens? Exam shows up, and you now see a scenario you've never seen. Then all of them say, they didn't teach us, they didn't teach us. Did that happen to anybody? Now, I don't know whether it's wickedness or it's the quality of thinking of the educational system, right? They did not tell you from the onset to define the logic that there are 5 types of quadratic equation, so that you know up front that these are the scenarios. So it is those guys that went outside to read extra stuff, maybe stumbled on it in a WAEC past question, or looked at other textbooks that they were lucky to have, that will find it. So those are the guys that are now saying, but he got it, because he took time to explore other scenarios. So what I'm telling you, that if you're in university, they're only showing you, honestly, I even said 3, probably half of the scenario. You're not seeing the 5 scenarios. Do you understand? Did that sink in? And that is the problem. I mean, people that read English language that cannot write proposal. Do you know that English language in proposal writing is composition? Do you know how much people, now ChatGPT has come out, but before then, do you know how much I have built before for proposal writing? And I won't like throwing figures because so that means must be very rich. That's the problem with us also. We're a bit warped. Do you think that wealth has to do with money? And I'm not trying to defend poverty. I'm not poor. Are we together? There are boys that I've trained that went for Qatar World Cup. Like when I say train, you train them, they were coppers, they came, they didn't have work. 40K salary, they've gone for Qatar, they've become something. So I'm not poor. That for me is my wealth. The investment in people. Apart from the other ones driving 2017 cars. Are you following me? And it's not Yahoo Yahoo. It's this stuff I'm teaching you. They just chose to listen. And sometimes they impressed me because they listened. I feel like a voice in the wilderness crying, repent. Nobody is listening. Now I had your attention when I said 40 million. They're looking at me seriously. Okay, talk to me. And I dare anyone. I'm using style to recruit. Send me your CV. If I find you, I'll pick you. And I'm looking for a boarding star. Of course, you must deliver. This excludes other benefits, by the way, including official car. Are we together? And it's a small role. When I say small, I mean small money. There are other people doing more, 70, 80. We meet them, we sit down, we talk, and they are frustrated. They can't find talent. Are we together? All right. And I'll tell you why. That thing I told about fractional distillation of your pastor, that's what we... Okay, let's continue. Where was I talking, please? Forgive me. I was talking about the scenarios, right? And how much your personal development option. Fantastic. So that is for students. So students, let me try today. And if you choose to listen, because one thing I also say with people that listen to me, because for me, you can either hate me or like me. And it's not as if I want to be deliberately controversial, but it's just, I have my results, and I know that because of the results, I can justify. So I will say those things, not because I want to brag, but because I want to show you the miracles that God uses to us to do. Or, the exploits, I would say. So, for me, my own challenge is that it's like going to dip yourself 7 times in. The guy did not, Elisha did not come out. Is it Elijah? Forgive me. Elisha, don't worry, my Bible is not that bad. I teach you instruction. You guys are, making me nervous. So, God forgive me, that was not true. But maybe yes. The stage is big and everything. And your pastor's shoe distracting me. I had to ask you, didn't I ask you about the shoe? I was like, is this a church member? I'm not the Nike guy. They don't have this. I'm not saying I went to Nike, they didn't in ShopRite. They don't have it. Pastor, calm down now. Let's focus on the gospel, sir. This shoe can pay my rent. All right, it's okay. Now, let's continue. Please, are we together? That's how to wake you up. So, Elisha did not come out of the house. He told Naaman, an army general, of which Israel was paying whatever to. Don't forget, they sent him to the king. The prophets, God will restore them. The guy said, go and dip yourself 7 times. So with all your problems and everything you've been through, all the complications, 25 to 40 million naira salary, all this stuff I'm telling you guys, I will just tell you something as basic as go dip yourself 7 times in the ocean. I won't even step out. That's how I talk. But most times people don't believe it's true. What they want me to tell them is how to wake up in the night, put their water on your feet at 12 midnight, do like this, and do like this, and then fast 3 days, and then they. But if I tell them no, just do 1, 2, 3, they won't believe me. Like I told you, one, go and take your pastor's message, pick everything you don't understand he said, pass 2, finish pass 2. Your next employment, that's where you go and join to work for the EA to this guy with 40 million that I'm about to hire. If maybe you come, I like you, but I see you cannot be the person. I will offer you the job of EA because I'm still going to fill that role. So I will now put you there as my person. That's how we do influence. So when from there, you'll be giving me information. But before I can send you there, your interview question may be this person that pastor gave, that you refuse to obey my instruction to go and factionally distill it. Everything he said requires a week or 2 of study. Almost everything he said. And I'm not flattering him. Pastor, I wish I was. I'm not. But they don't believe me. They just go and sit down. Meanwhile, right there looking for 40 million naira salary guy to pay. His sister looks interested. She's like, oh God, no, my house rent. I'm sorry. It's not you, don't worry. Are we together? Are we together? So, I will give you those instructions. Please pay attention. Now, I'll come back to students. Let me quickly run to the guys to career people. Now, I don't know if my chat is ready. Paraventure is not, no problem. I can carry on. Now, for people who work in career, Pastor, this is where the problem is. Tarfa, let's do this. The problem is, so let me quickly educate people. Okay, brilliant. Please hide it so that it doesn't distract them. I'll tell you to bring it back again when I'm ready. Thank you. Just hide it, please. Let's continue so that they focus on me. These things can be distracting. You can take it down. So here's the thing. Now, the world is organized around economies. Please follow me. The economies of the world, are tied to geography. So it's called, so geopolitics stuff. So there's Asia, Europe. Europe is a bloc. European Union, and Asia, and all the associated ECOWAS. That's how they're organized, maybe at a higher level of abstraction. Then after that, we have countries with economies. Nigeria is the largest economy in Africa, right? So one economy. Lagos is about the 6th or 7th largest economy in Africa too. Are we together? So that is the economy. Now, under economies, please follow me. We have sectors, agriculture, energy, and so on and so forth. I'm trying to establish the basics. Because, Pastor, I don't have time to do this. And I have to trust God for wisdom to only focus on foundational stuff. So it may look simplistic in a way, but if you really set your heart to be true, and if you don't like it now, give me 2 years, you'll call me and thank me because you're like, you were right after all. It's because you don't have enough exposure to appreciate it. And no insult. So let's now get to the point. Economies, sectors, right? Agriculture, energy. Now, sectors consist of industries, which are within sectors. So agriculture has fish farming, poultry. Are you seeing the industries? Now, that's where it stops at that level. But when you say you want to work, if you're working, you have a functional area. So you can say I'm in marketing and sales, which is kind of getting old school now because it's dynamic, it's changing now, it's evolved, right? And if you don't evolve with it, you stay on your own. You have strategy, you have finance, which is the strategic role of accounting. Accounting is like, I don't want to mention some so I don't insult people, but accounting is not, it's supposed to be strategic, but a lot of them are not strategic. Last week Sunday, I was hosted by the current ICANN president, and I gave it to, and I said, go and tell your people, I have, oh God help me, oh Lord help me. I don't want to be controversial, guys. I can count the number of accountants that I've seen that are sound in my career. I can count. They're not up to 5. I still have openings that I can fill accountants. It's always like this, to hire accountants, like this. To prove to you, because I've learned to always back up what I'm saying with validation. One of the top entrepreneurs in this country, top 10 women, when I told her, she's like my client, but she also calls me her friend, which I'm honored. She says, go and tell that person, that it's true, that they always give me hell. And you'll be like, but that's a pure water career. Everybody's an accountant. They just churn them out. What is the problem? Strategic thinking. And they refuse to get immersed in the business. They want to stay in their silos. And you know what I'm saying? It's like the other pastors that refuse to enter. I'm not trying to explain spiritual stuff. I may not be qualified. But one of the things that has made some pastors, when pastors, thrive, great churches. Nigeria, the biggest thing is church. And I don't mean that in a bad way. No. And it's good because that's where the revival should start. Because think about the largest, tour in the world, largest gathering. That's the most expensive stuff. The parking lot is bigger than. Do you get? Is it not church? Okay. One of my clients owns a private jet hangar. He said there are more private jets than commercial jets combined. He told me. My pastor confirmed, he was in the meeting. So it's not like I'm lying to you or trying to make you feel good. Who has a good proportion of that? I think churches probably have a third of that, if not more. No, maybe not a third, but they have a good portion. Are you following what I'm saying? And it's not a bad thing. I've come down from that horse. I don't criticize. No, it's wrong. You know why? I'll tell you why if you remind me. Do you understand? It's not a problem. That's not the criticism. Of course, if it misleads us, it's a different problem. But here's where I'm going. Do you know why there is so much capital as such? Are you following me? You will find out shortly. So it's like the biggest thing happening. But the problem is, okay, I don't know. I lost my children. Forgive me. Sorry? Yes. Sorry, say that again. Yes, thank you very much. The reason why the pastors have become relevant is because the pastor, thank you so much, have immersed themselves. So when you have a pastor like this that is talking about marketing, that can identify with you. He's not doing, man, and you don't have an idea. He's able to connect with you, then you gravitate towards him, which is kind of what Jesus did. Are you following what I'm saying? He didn't go and hang around with the priest. So that is what has made it. That the thing with accountants, they refuse to immerse themselves in the business. And I will give you an example. Let me give you an example. Watch this. A man goes to Dubai to buy goods on credit. Right? He goes to Dubai. He buys goods on credit. This is on credit. I bring speakers. I come and sell in Dumota Market. Then I go back and give them the cash because they gave me on credit. Right? So one day, the Arab guy says, Mr. Damilola, come. If you give me cash down, I will give you all these things for 80,000. So you don't have to spend $100,000. 80,000 to take. No, it's not Mr. Damilola. It's Mr. Emeka. It is 80,000. Are we together? Even though Damilolas are now becoming. You get what I'm saying? Do you understand the math? You get the logic? Because sometimes they will be looking at us, they don't, and they won't say, no, I don't get it. Tell me you don't get it. Are you following me? I'm here. So, the man now says, Che, you know what? Let me go and borrow money from the bank. Right? Take the 80K. Come and buy it. Pay cash. Now, my interest rate, right, and my total revenue must be less than the 20K so that I can make extra 10K on my or extra margin on my profit. Do you understand the calculation? They have accountants. They can't think like this. So the guy will be looking like a dons. And they will just be burning money. No efficiency, no strategic thinking. This was even analytical thinking, it's not strategic. I'll come to strategic thinking. You know the problem? This question I asked you is WAEC question, SS1 textbook. Yes, I'll tell you about my library. My library is made up of secondary school books. A good portion of that. And I know because I failed WAEC, because that's where the foundation is established. You're like, this guy, what are you saying? Where are you from? What is all this? That is my dip yourself 7 times in the ocean. So, Pastor, I've charged 500K, I've charged 1 million, I've charged 1.5 million. It's just laptop, a few hours, and the document is ready. It's composition in secondary school. I kid you not. That's what it is. It's just right. It's composition, letter writing. Email is letter writing. Dear sir, subject, drop the points, paragraphs, explain it, follow an outline. Yours sincerely, you can put kind regards. That's it. He was talking about email writing because he understands the disaster. They read English language. I spoke to the students and I flowed into the career folks. Are we together? So I'm sorry I took on the accountants. I could have come for HR. That one I have them here. They are my own guy. That one, You're like, man, what are you? Why are you acting? I'm not trying to cause trouble. I want to stir your heart. So if you're upset, I'm sorry. Come and prove me. I have openings. Don't worry. I have HR. I have accounts. I don't want to mention so that the clients are, okay, calm down. Don't tell us about. Do you understand? They are opened. And it's not as if we do recruitment. We don't do recruitment. They are just opened. And it's slowing down the execution of our projects because we don't have people to fill them. Do you understand? Is my passion too much? They won't tell me the truth. Church people, they were very polite. Are we together? I'm really sorry if I'm too hard on you guys. All right? I'm a young preacher, so Billy Graham, when he started, was shouting. When I settled down, I have money, a Range Rover. I can now be talking slowly, yes. Yeah, hallelujah. You understand? So bear with me. This is passion. I'm still building a profile. Trying to be like your pastor. Are we together? Pastor, this is the last time I mentioned you. Let me move on. I'll go to Pastor Femi. So this is the competence. Okay, man, they're confusing me now. So what exactly are you saying? Let me explain. I finished students, and I'll come back to them because I didn't close it. Because the thing that will connect them connects across 3. But students, I told you that you need to educate yourself. Now I'm talking to career people. Are you following me? And mostly entry level 0 to 5 years. No, entry level is not 0 to 5, like 0 to 2, 0 to 3. But entry to mid-level. Your responsibility within the hierarchy of industry, after we say economy, sector, industry, functional area, which I described, the next thing is, what is then the competence that you need? Emmanuel, you've been making noise about accountancy. Okay, so what exactly what am I supposed to have? What is the unifying factor? This is it. It is the thinking, it is the documentation or communication, documentation as it were, the writing, it is the execution. So it's thinking, documentation, and execution. Thinking, documentation, and execution. You know I'm laughing because a lot of people that know me all like, the guys call me gay. The ones that are watching online or watch online. So Tarfa, you mean you're seriously telling them this? Yes, this is how to go and dip yourself sometimes in the ocean. So let me walk you through this thinking documentation quickly. Because career people, I want to help you and then I'll move to entrepreneurs quickly, which are my bodies. I deal with you guys every day. All right? So, for thinking, normally if you Google thinking, you will see critical thinking, analytical thinking, strategic, creative thinking. There are generally 3 that are important. It's critical thinking. That one is very popular. I'm sure you hear it even in sermons. They will tell you it's going to be relevant even with robots, ChatGPT or whatever. Critical thinking will not go. Analytical thinking may go, but you need critical thinking to do it well, because software will do the thinking. But if you don't know how to ask or query, strategic thinking, I'm not sure will go anywhere. That is what humans have. Are you following me? Now, what are these 3 things? I'll tell you. Critical thinking really is about options. So I'll give you an example you'll never forget for your life, for the rest of your life. I'll give you 2. Are we together? So I'm in Park-In Hotel now. Let's say for some reason I have to sleep over. God forbid. I want to go back to that. Let's say I have to sleep over. And then in the morning, suddenly, as I'm driving out, there's a lady sitting down, rough hair beside me. And I picked an example you'll not forget so that you pay attention. Rough hair a bit, wearing something. No, it's not really opening, but it's just a bit sleeveless. And you can't really see, it's dark. And then I'm driving out with spooky eyes. And then as I'm driving out, one of my colleagues that lives in, let's say, Abeokuta, just, is that not Tarfa? Oh, yeah, Elder Tarfa, whatever they want to call me. Is he? So, question is going to be like, what's going on here? Why is Tarfa driving at 6 a.m. in Abeokuta? No, but he doesn't live in Abeokuta. So, is he doing runs outside Lagos? Wow. What do you think you start thinking? What honestly, sincerely, the girl looked funny, you're like someone that woke up from sleep. And you'll be like, what do you think the first thing? You just think Tarfa is doing wrong. You know why? Assuming he didn't see this flyer. He would know, even if he sees the flyer, you say he told her to meet him there. Do you understand? What is the problem? He only has one option in his head. That Tarfa is doing wrongs. But critical thinking will give you 10 options. Are you following me? We'll give you how many options? How many options? Now, I cannot play with your imagination to tell you what the other options would be. But if we're sitting in a room trying to make an important decision, the person that adds value is the person that provides the most options and arranges the option in an order that we can pick in order of priority because of time. We can't consider all 10. So top 3 options. Now imagine if we have to make profits. We have to cut costs. How do we cut costs? We're bleeding. It is critical thinking you use to determine options by the quality of questions you ask to know which options we should pursue. But if you're biased, right? Which is what they teach you against critical thinking. You are biased, you're prejudiced, you won't understand. I'll give you a quick example. This one will connect you. I'm sorry, I didn't want to do this. I gave an example. I was teaching some old folks, old school folks, mostly in their 50s, late 40s. Right? And I was talking about, okay, imagine you don't wear an earring. Meanwhile, your daughter brings someone she wants to marry, and the guy is wearing an earring. The one guy just put in the chat, dead on arrival. And I said, good. When I finished, I said, okay, I understand. Number one, she will never marry him. But I said, what if in his culture, where he's coming from, they're allowed to wear an earring? Say, what do you mean? You're not exposed. Hello? But no, it's not possible. Man should not, let's not get there. Are you following what I'm saying? Jesus wore robe now. It's not trouser. Trouser came in maybe a couple of years later. Did you ever see the word trouser in the Bible? Maybe. I'm not sure. Pastor, I can't remember. I will check. Please, someone just Google. You understand? Hello? I'm not trying to play on the religious card now. So, I now thought that's option 1. Option 2. What if, okay, you're not wearing a ring likely for one reason, because of your faith. But what if God brought this guy near you? He will not marry your daughter, but you mentor him out of it. and you missed the opportunity. Immediately I said, someone's like, they now started to connect. That is critical, but they were already biased by their religious objective. So that's what kills critical thinking. Bias, prejudice. Pastor is talking like it's because he wants to raise money. No, that's not the reason. You've killed the thinking. Open-minded, options. So, Emmanuel, if it was a class, I would have asked you for all the options that Emmanuel will be driving out. What if I was giving the receptionist lift just to the junction? Even though I wouldn't. Are you following what I'm saying? Hello? So that some people will not fall. Are you with me? Are you with me? Are you giving an example? Do you know the funny thing? I've been giving this example in training. 3 weeks ago, it happened. My colleague went to a church missing a hotel like this. So I told her, okay, I'll pick her up on the way out. It's near my house. We'll head to the office. So as I was driving out with her, for some reason, she put a nice hair that day. And then one of my old clients just said, hello, it's my colleague. We came to pick up from our church. He said, oh, this church? I said, yes. Just like I said, jokingly. But I quickly cleared this down. So it was because we got married 2 weeks apart. So the guy went, half an hour. Do you understand what I'm saying? Wait, why is he using the example? I'm trying to explain to critical thinking, please. I'm not into those. Do you understand? Now, that is critical thinking. Critical thinking presents options. Now, I gave examples because I cannot go into the real business stuff. So I gave you options that you will never forget. What are the questions you've asked? And critical thinking is stuff that children ask, but we kill it with our educational system. How? When you go in school, you copy assignment, you copy test, and you even have the audacity to copy an exam. So you kill your critical thinking. Let's talk about analytical thinking. Analytical thinking is measure. Qualitative or quantitative is measure. So analytical thinking checks how much, how less. Is usually measure. Are we together? So what you'll be doing analytical thinking is, what was he wearing? What time was he leaving the hotel? What is his itinerary looking like? Are you seeing analytical thinking is taking critical thinking to look for what? Measure. Based on those measures, it will know what to pursue first as option one. That no, it can't be cheating. It can't be doing wrongs. But what did I use to determine that? Analytical what? How do you improve analytical thinking? I'm sorry, ladies and gentlemen, I'm about to drop one now. Go dip yourself 7 times ocean. It is your new general mathematics or whatever secondary school mathematics you prefer. SS1, SS2, SS3. That is where analytical thinking is sorted. But we missed the bus. I just gave you a why question. I would have charged the client 2 million naira to give him that advice. We do it for goodness sake. Sometimes even when we're charging money, we're just looking and like, but that's what it is. Don't worry, it's well deserved. I mean, we have workshops, charge 1 million naira, charge 2 days. That's it. I'm not kidding you, and I'm not trying to impress you. It is what adds value. And the client will be like, thank you. He's paying you, thank you. Sending you a message, thank you. Meanwhile, you paid me. The record now is about 2.8, 2.9, 2 days. It will keep growing. It will get to Bismarck Ronnie's level, 7 million, 1 hour. I mean, I think it's more, but I'm just giving an example. That's what you call value. That's Joseph. You stand, Pharaoh, your dream is one. Back, finish, collect money. And it's new general mathematics. Yes, go and read it. It's mathematical, it's analytical stuff. Strategic thinking. Strategic thinking is purpose. Is why. Why is it important for you to know what Emmanuel is doing there? How does that really help you? Are we together? That is the third category. Now, unfortunately, everything I've said is just thinking. Now, documentation, honestly and sincerely, is really about ability to write. You know the problem? We just made the Lagos State governor. He called me, he said we should do something. Okay, you know what Lagos State governor is going to ask you? What is he going to ask for? Who can tell me? Okay, you finished talking, had a good meeting, send something. What is he going to send for? Proposal! You don't come back and present to him and do sermon and run around and roll on the ground and speak it. You give him what? That is what people pay us the most for, sir. But why can't you write your proposals yourself? Why can't you? People have built a career on proposal writing. But even beyond that, it's not really proposal. There's email, there's proposal writing. Are you following me? The ability to communicate. Now, there are levels and grades of communication. And when I get to teaching you general stuff, I'll tell you how to improve your ability to write. Listen, if you're not an artist, like this gentleman, if you're not a computer programmer, even though you still need to know how to write at that level, otherwise, if you're not, I doubt you'll be able to rise in your career beyond a certain level you cannot write. I'm not sure. You're capped already. Maybe now to improve with robots and ChatGPT, but even at that, you have to know how to use it so that you don't write generic stuff. It's like when you go to a Ebano and you buy a painting, right? You know those paintings, the graphic design painting, versus when you sit down with an artist and he paints and gives you, there's a difference. Are you following what I'm saying? So that's going to be the difference between robot and so on. But here's my point. My point is that your ability to communicate and document, because that's actually what everything that happens in the office. So after we've thought of the strategies, we've brainstormed, we've agreed, we now need to write it down so that we can present it or propose it. We've entered deals where we've been paid millions, where our only contribution was the writing. We didn't own the idea, even though we helped to flesh it out with critical and legal thinking, but our job was to write it. Whether it's in a business plan or it's a feasibility study. I can't even get to the feasibility study. That one is, I can't start. I can't start. Pastor, no, I can't even go there. Documentation. The last one is execution. Now, execution, in fairness to us, a lot of us know how to execute. But the problem is we don't know how to think and we don't know how to document when we are required to document. Not every entrepreneur can document. But if you cannot document, at least provide enough value to pay someone that can document. I can excuse you for documentation because some people are just creative and, you can go and make their car. It's sweet. It's the sweetest in the whole Ibadan. So in the whole Abeokuta. But you cannot write the proposal. No problem. Take from that money of the sweet one. Pay someone else to write it for you. But the thinking, I'm coming to that for entrepreneurs. I'll see you there. So here is the point. The point is that execution, usually the problem is she just wakes up one morning. This estate, nobody's selling akara. I feel like eating akara. She enters the market, buys all the stuff, condiments, everything. She fries the akara, starts distributing. She didn't think, she didn't plan, she just started. That's execution. Now that has its plus or minuses. And I'll tell you how. I made a friend in the market. She's much elderly. She's like my friend. I buy chicken and stuff from because I go to the market and you can ask me reasons why later. So, local market, like open market. So, the lady said, Emmanuel, when we started this market, I was the only one, just two of us were selling egg. Now, every Dick and Harry is selling egg. I was looking at her and I said, you don't understand Potter's 5. I couldn't even start that English for her. And that's also good. Knowledge is not boastful. How can you start explaining Potter's 5 to a market woman? So we're like, what is Potter's 5? You can go and Google it later. The competitive forces that determines how a market operates. Let me help you. How many telcos do we have? Give me the top 3 or 4. Number 1, MTN, Glo, Airtel, right? And one more, 9 Mobile. If Pastor tells you today he wants to raise an investment to start his own, won't you first look at it like, okay, have fun now. How do you want to beat these guys? That's Potter's 5. Where are you going to start from? What are you going to offer different? That's Potter's 5. That's the framework that is used to analyze the market. So she was trying to understand, and that's what some of you, and that's the problem when I tell people in church. They say the sky is big enough for us. It's true in a way. There's a difference between truth and true. Go and watch Wafbeck. Are you following what I'm saying? Well, if your pastor allows you. Are you together? But what I'm saying is, I understand the spirit of that, but it's not accurate. Exactly. The sky is broad, but the ability to thrive in the sky is largely connected to your ability to focus and dominate a specific niche. Otherwise, you can't stay there. Be like, what do you mean? You have to be a monopoly in a niche market. So you can say, I'm starting my own telco, but I only service students. So I only charge them credit when they get their alawi. That's my strategy. Are you following me? That's strategic thinking. Pastor dropped one powerful one. When he said, you are actually a very good caterer, but you are thinking, okay, my market is good. So you now pivot. I will still do catering, but I will open up a YouTube channel so that I can put my special recipes for people to follow me. Or I will spin off a program in partnership with Lagos State to conduct training programs for students. So I'll teach people. So I'll take over their home economics curriculum. Or I will package a cookery book and get foreigners across the 7 billion people in this world, less 200 million Nigerians, who want to learn other dishes. Or I will organize an elite training sponsored by GT Bank and bring all the finest cuisine guests, whatever, to come and learn African dishes. Nana, me lead them. That's my own philosophy. Do you understand? What is that? Strategic thinking. Okay, let me pause. Let's everybody breathe in. Breathe out. The problem is, Pastor, I'm sorry. I'm a bit anxious because of time. I'm trying to compress so much. But I hope I'm connecting. My sister, am I connected? I didn't fall your hand. They shouldn't go and tear that billboard. Sir, you look too serious. Are you an entrepreneur? You're an entrepreneur? Okay. Auntie, I'm delivering. The pastor don't tell you the truth. They say, yes. Yeah, handing dust. Church people, tell people the truth. Okay, you can do better, you can improve this, you can slow down. It's called truth. Are you from the truth to set you what? Free, to set me free, to give me other platforms. Of course, I'm not asking for feedback directly, but I'm just telling you what's up. Are we together? Now, let's quickly enter entrepreneurs. Lord help me. Now, here's the confusion of entrepreneurs. And I sorted this in one of the programs that my dear sister, and I don't know what pastor, everything, DDK invited me. And I cracked it at that meeting. I said that there are about four categories I can put of entrepreneurs or businesses or what have you. Entrepreneurs, there's even entrepreneurship and business, if you ask me, but let's not get into that. Number one, you can be an MSME. An MSME is a small business, micro, small, and medium. You're just managing yourself. Are we together? You grow gradually, no investment. It's just service you're providing. You're selling a university campus, you have your restaurant. You guys are okay. That's what you used to send your children to school. That's MSME. Balogun Market, you sell textile, open your booth. Are we together? That's what? MSME. Are we together? The second category is you're a corporate. I'm going to the extreme. MTN, CBN. You can be born in one day with a market cap of, with a capital base of 10 billion naira. Like, I imagine when NNPC was starting, they did not do small, it's boom, billions. They just moved the assets on the books and distributed, and then boom, limited liability. A corporate was born. Some people grow from MSMEs to become corporates. Corporates are usually revenues in billions, employees in hundreds and more. Are we together? Starting from hundreds. Now, here is where the confusion starts. There are two emerging spaces that is getting traction in Nigeria, but there's confusion between which one you are. I call them the master craftsmen and startups. Startups are easy. Startups are different from MSMEs. Startups don't have middle ground. They start, prove their product, immediately raise money. If you don't raise money, you're not a startup. The whole hallmark of it is that you're not using your money. So you now power the business based on the funds you've raised to create value for your investors. Hello? That's what it is. But master craftsman, this is where they miss it. It is that the owner of the business is the business. But they are artisan in nature. Now, artisan, unfortunately, I was corrected by a client. Doesn't mean you are Baba Ijebu or not Baba Ijebu. The other, Baba Sekira, the carpenter that comes to your house in Tata looking. That's not artisan. That's what we called it here. Artisan is, oh boy, you sabi your stuff. You bake the cake for you, 1 million naira. My cake starts for 1 million. Your cake, yes. That's artisan. You say, I'm a chef, but I only show up, I cook for governors, senators, House of Reps, and I'm okay, and I'm busy all year round. That's enough. That's artisan. In other words, you are a master craftsman. You understand your stuff, and you are the expertise. So you're not trying to build a company, employees. You probably just have an EA who is even part-time and remote. But everything, they come, you deliver your speech, they pay you $1 million. I mean, one of them, for instance, is Farid Zakaria. I mean, I may be wrong if he hears this in future, but he works for CNN. I mean, he came to do a strategy session for a bank. He charged them $100,000 at that time, which would probably be like, now what's 100K now? About 75, right? That's what he charged them at that time. A bank in Nigeria, come and sit for a strategy. It wasn't, I think it was 1 day or so, or 2 days. Flew him, hotel, everything, and flew him back. In fact, I think he met them in a foreign country. You take care of everything. That one is his fees. He's separate from his food. He's separate from his ticket. That's what you call master craftsman. He's a leading expert in geopolitics. So when there are wars or tensions of wars, they advise him for his counsel. You know your stuff. That's consulting at the elite level. At what level? The problem is you are doing MSME structure, right? Right? Providing master craftsman services, charging MSME price. It will implode. A Mercedes is designed to be naturally expensive, so we don't make so many. It's not, but it's premium, even though they sell quite a lot. But Rolls Royce, not a lot. But the price, you get it? So if it's Kia and Hyundai, they already know their niche. That's broader. Are you following me? So when you are serving, what I usually recommend is because, and this is important, and this will set someone free. It's best to do master craftsman and charge a little more premium if you have the quality. But if you don't have the quality, then you may have to struggle with the SME trap. It's a trap. According to Bishop Wayne Malcolm, he used to come to House on the Rock for some of their programs. And I just followed him online. I always liked him when I was a youth corper then, and listened to him. And the guy explained that entrepreneurship is a deadly hole. People don't know. MSMEs are not actually having it easy. Now, why are you talking like this? I'm not a prophet of doom. It's actually very hard work. It drains your life. It drains your relationships, your commitments. And you're like, yes, it drains you. And at the same time, if you're not careful, it will not reward you, to fling you out. And you'll be broke. So why are you talking like this? Because I have clients that were at the edge of managing so that they don't lose what they built in years. It's just because the market has moved. But unfortunately, things didn't move at that pace. And it's not like, we can't lose it all. Do you understand? And we're like, no, we have to stay and fix this. Entrepreneurship is dangerous. Startups can get away. That's why at Series A, they've already cashed out small. They've already bought house in Lekki. Series A, they've not gone to BCD. They say we call partial exit. Hello, sir, no vex, hold 10K. No, what am I saying? 150K for the effort so far. So here is now the wisdom for somebody. If you're an MSME, you have to think about, oh my God, my time is up. You have to think about your exit. Are we together? You have to think about your what? So, we say, why are you talking about exit so early? You have to focus on creating value to a point where if you don't grow and pivot to become a corporate with the expertise that you require, then you should at least sell the business and cash out. So, Emmanuel, what do you mean? You may be making soap, in fairness to you, but honestly, that soap cures a disease, a rare disease. That's master craftsman. You must figure that out. So that you once sell the recipe to PZ. Not try to compete with them. Strategic thinking. But if the Lord says compete with them, because I'm going to talk about the spiritual part, go ahead. If he said so, and better obey every other instruction. But if not, strategic thinking required, so that by the time they pay you 1 billion naira, take for the recipe, you can now take that billion and now go and start on another level or decide or go and become a missionary and fix your. You understand what I'm saying? Which is probably my next ambition. I actually like it, just, cash out. So God, help me unicorn quickly so I can become a missionary. I'm going around talking to people about stuff. Amen. Are we together? Are we together? Am I communicating? Did you get something? I didn't try to discourage you that entrepreneurship, but it's not easy. They don't tell you, you don't know. I know. Over 150 of them. We all sit down now. There are less than 10% that are doing well and are happy and are sleeping well. Less than 10. Forget about all that Range Rover stuff. Tony Elumelu that is doing soft life now. You don't know the price he paid. Some of these guys mortgage their houses. They didn't have lives. Their wives and children did not see them. Do you understand? And I'm here now. Where are my children and my wife? Are they not missing me? You know, this one is not entrepreneurship. Don't worry, don't feel guilty. Are we together? Are we together? So you have to deliver value, guys. Otherwise, go back to paid employment and become the number 2 man. You will still clean out, you will still cash out. That's another deception. And my pastor has preached against that. See, the CEO of Google was an employee. He's a billionaire. I think so. Maybe he will be inching towards that. Tim Cook was a bloody employee. He's a billionaire. So you can attach yourself to a massive dream. Please pop up the chat. Are we together? Yes, now, here is a theory I composed in this place. I'm sure this place is so much anointing. This came on my head and it's going on social media when I leave here. I hope it goes viral. Here's the framework. Your pastor was using the word framework. Like, these guys are big. Frameworks help make your life easy. Because there's too much information. So you go for framework first before data. You can't scan the entire 10 billion index pages now. So use a framework to figure out what you're looking for. Someone didn't get that. Now, there are two main variables, X and Y axis. Are we following together? It's still New General Mathematics, so pastor. X and Y axis, so we they tell them no go yeah. Go and read Y book. My landlady then, when I was still living in VI, I went to drag, her daughter graduated, they were celebrating, Mommy, I want her textbook. She was like, did you fail Y? I said, no, because I don't want to go to Lagos Island to buy it. I want that textbook. I used to come and train people and charge 2 million naira because they've forgotten their New General Mathematics SS1. Sorry guys, I'm not really that razz. So we have, unfortunately you can't see this. There are two metrics, there are two axes. X and what? What is that's what known brand, MTN, CBN, state government. That's a what? A known brand. Here is what? Unknown brand. Are we together? That's on the y-axis. On the x-axis, I hope it's x, yes it is. Here we have what? Productive. Here we have what? Unproductive. So it is your productivity against where you work. That's what the matrix is about. Are we together? Now watch this. If you work for an unknown brand, no, I think I'm getting known, so let me not speak now. Damola and Co. Hello, are you with me? Who Damola is probably a master craftsman. Are you following me? You know my master craftsman definition, right? Person who sabi the thing. Where go charge cake 1 million naira. Photographer will go show up saying I 1.5 in my own picture. You're wondering, what is he doing? What is he taking? Is he taking the image of Christ? Do you understand what I'm saying? What is this? Oh yeah, screen. So, Damola and Co. Or one master craftsman photographer. But you have a productive role. What does it mean to be productive? To be productive means you're contributing. No, let me start. To be productive means you are learning and you are contributing. Please, that definition is very important. You're what? And I'll start rounding up. You're learning and you're what? You're learning and you're what? If you notice, I did not emphasize whether you're being paid. Because the learning itself is value. It's virtue. So you're learning and you are contributing. So if you are starting your career, if you don't get an opportunity to enter the next level, I'll tell you, it is okay. And that was one of the best advice that my late friend gave me. He said, go for, then we're coppers and we're options, banks. My sister working in bank, she paid my school fees. So the options were, but me, I knew where I was going. The person that trained me, you know, Chubu Kamoye, I always need to give it to ADC presidential candidate at the pre-primary levels. He taught us this thing. You know what he told us that inspired me? He told my friend then, and who was also my classmate and co-founder in university business we did. He said, what I would teach you guys, he said, KPMG and extension will not teach you. When he said it, I told Mommy, I want to leave Abuja, nah. I'm heading to Lagos. He said, to go and do what? What they will teach me. That's how I got service, packed, and came here. So where I'm going is that we started from his dining table. And people were thinking, are you guys mad? When you have an opportunity to start your career, now we could have still started a career in banking or telecom. It would have been fine, maybe. But honestly, I cannot compare myself now with the people that went that path. Not that some of them are okay, they're fine. But in terms of, as it relates to purpose, so that money is not the only measure, I'm fulfilled. I'm much more fulfilled, I'm much more productive and impactful than if I'd taken on that path. Are we together? So I'm not criticizing those places, please. Don't get me wrong. So you can start here. Why? Because you will acquire skill here. You will apprentice here. Now, I will say something very sentimental. That's why I respect and I love a lot the Igbo brethren. Let me also throw out a statistic. And this is going to be very controversial, but I'll leave it. Since at least I have authority now, having done all my employment all these years, the most competent set, if I were to do it, competent set, consistent competent set of Nigerians are the guys from the East that I've worked with. Consistent. Now, it's a very controversial speech that may put me in trouble in future. Thank God I'm not from there. But honestly, for my own data, maybe my own sphere of influence is too small. But respectfully speaking, I'm talking about consistent. Not that the most intelligent may be, I don't want to get in there, it can be anybody. It could be north, it could be south, it could be east, it could be west. But in terms of consistency, where in a sample of 10, the highest you will get is from the east. These guys came out of the Civil War, and I'm not trying to open cold wounds, but still rose to probably become the richest geopolitical zone. Up until recently, did you used to see a beggarly, did you ever say Igbo man that begs? It's not just recently now, things have changed. Before, did you see that? How can you come out of Civil War where they steal all your property and come and still be the richest? It's apprenticeship, guys. Is what? Is what? Is what? What we are all running away from. So if you work with a master craftsman, he will teach you. My boss was an Igbo man. In Nigeria, do you understand? And I'm not picking sentiments here. Please bring your mind back before you become biased and lose me. So they will teach you. They may not pay you well, but they will teach you. Now, when you collect that, you now take it to your next level. We'll talk about your other options. Hold on. So leave this. You're in this box. So this is where to start. The other box, which is the best place to be. No, let me come this way. It's what I call the disaster box, which is where a lot of people are. You are not learning. You are not productive. Are we together? And you work for what? An unknown brand. Are we together? I want you to play with your imagination. You're not learning. You're not. Now, be careful. Be careful, because when I say you're not learning, what people will now think, they will now start thinking of their boss very badly. Jacob was a very difficult boss. But that's the guy that made, Laban, but that was the guy that made Jacob rich. There was a particular sister, a friend of mine. This is true life story. Barely a year ago. She had not a horrible boss, frustrating her, everything, and she came to me for advice. So, first of all, she chased me for maybe 1 year to get my attention. And I'm not trying to feel important. Right? So I now finally answered her. So one day I was just talking to her. I said, she's there talking about the boss. I said, listen, but now you're not going anywhere. That woman, stick there, learn. I told her about Jacob. I told her about Laban. I told her, what do you think is Saul? Saul and still, he still trained the guy in the palace. Now, at least it's because of Saul that he's in the palace. You're in the palace at least. And that's what I was learning from Chukwukamonye. We were inside the palace. We used to go for meetings with the EDs of banks. Yes, we were coppers there taking notes or whatever we were. But we still knew that, you're in the palace. Reason them, even in a 10K, they collect. But the rebellious ones didn't see the vision. They didn't get it. And God sustained us. And that's the place of prayer. To patience and virtue, which we learned from the church. When we used to do campus stuff with no money. Give up all our pocket money as offering. And so on and so forth. A blessed memory. Are we together? Are we together? So, these so-called horrible, but they're tough, they're harsh. If they have skill, if they have something that is making them successful, learn from them. Even if you're not going to do their trade, you will learn what it means to be an entrepreneur. If you can manage their business well, like Joseph managing Potiphar, then you'll be fine. And that is what is missing in the church. Now they have the opportunity to stand before a pastor, because every time they start inviting me, I'll be telling them, Pastor, we don't have Josephs in the workplace. And they are carrying Christian on their head. When I start talking, they're looking at me like, I will now go to their Facebook site and see I'm a child of God. I'm like, for where? Doing terrible things in unrighteousness. Not even collecting bribe. That's not what I'm talking about. That's not bribe. That's even low-level stuff. I'm talking about just mess themselves like Daniel or David. And then you wonder why Nigeria is like this. So, you can learn from horrible bosses. In fact, if you read the parable of the talent, the guy said, I know you are a hard man. Why would Jesus talk about the story of a man that is... What did he say? He said, you're a what? You're a what? A lot of entrepreneurs that are serious. In fact, I told my colleagues, the reason why I'm not very rich is because I'm a nice boss. You have to be hard. Hardness drives you. The Bible says, and the spirit of drove him into the wilderness to be tempted by the devil. You have to be tested. I'm not trying to connect it per se, but you get what I'm saying? It's part of the package. But no, it's never my portion. See, if he had to get to Egypt somehow. He had to be refined. Some of you, that's what you're going through now. That's where he learned administration in Potiphar's house. He killed lion and bear, which he didn't have to. Small assignment they give you, I beg, I cannot kill myself. They want to close my estate gate. You will be mediocre. You will always be small. You're always thinking about, you can't. You have to take daring risk. Lion and bear, that was risk. But that was what prepared him for Goliath. Even Mark and Gladwell, which I don't know if he's a Christian, wrote David and Goliath. Unknown brand and what? Sorry. Unknown brand versus... But, sorry? This is, sorry, unproductive and what? Unproductive and... What does that mean? You work for government, you work for a big organization. Okay, sirs, don't worry, I'll tie it up. I'll tie it up. Are we together? You work for a government, big organization, and what? But you are unproductive. You're not learning, and you're not contributing. At that point, you have to strategize. Turn that place into go back to school there. When I say go back, don't like go to school. Enroll and begin to build competence there. I wish I had time, but maybe if you follow me online, we can keep the conversation going so that I tie this up. So it doesn't finish today. So we'll continue the conversation online, maybe through other channels. Then the last thing is this. So here you strategize. Here is a disaster. Pray against this. And it means you also have a problem, right? Because you're unproductive. Here, this is where to start. This is a safe place. You'll be fine. Apprenticeship. While here, it is the place of influence. Some of us are screaming and shouting, like Pastor was explaining to us, which is very true. That these guys are making decisions that affect us. Now, some streaming channels, if it's not, the whole stuff now around children and, man, woman, the whole shit. We're just looking like we don't have an option. We don't have influence. We don't have our own platform. We don't have options. But what if you were in the boardroom and you just said, you know what, guys? So here's the thing. Can we listen to me. Was there no Christian in the room that had enough influence to say, wait. Okay, I understand you guys want to do your LGBTQ, but please, can we give an option to people to watch the episodes that skip where the man will kiss the man? Let's have that option. We don't have the say. But yes, we still want to enjoy the entertainment, right? Netflix isn't bad. Except Lord says stop it. But, I still need to relax. There's still some good stuff to learn. But the problem is, I said, we do it. Suddenly, a man will jump on him. I'm like, oh my God. I'm on the face. I'm like, yeah. I was like, whoa, what's this? I almost, do you understand? But no option, no influence. Those guys are known brands. But are they productive people that can command the say? Can the CEO be a born-again Christian that can put his foot down and say, no, let's give them options, at least. I won't quarrel with people, give them options. Let somebody know, this one has man kissing man, so skip the part. When he gets there to skip, just like they do with censoring of foul language. No influence. In conclusion, entrepreneurs, I've said a lot to you. people working for the workplace, I've said a lot to you. So what is the conclusion? Fear God and shun evil. But in addition to that, here's my recommendation. And Pastor, this is now deep myself 7 times and I will get out of the stage. Follow me, sir. And the rest of the team. I will close in 2 minutes. Okay, 2, 3. So, Emmanuel, what do we do? Here's my options. Number 1, English language. You have to be sound in the ability to either understand comprehension or have the ability to write. So if you cannot afford to pay consultants like us $500,000 to write something, which is starting price, then you should at least write yourself. So since you don't have much customers, you don't have much problem, your business is too small, spend time doing it yourself. There's a popular, and I'm sure she will listen to it probably, and Kafi, the dancer, she's one of my clients, and it's okay, she would like me to say it publicly because I've done stuff for her publicly. In her birthday and all that, I spoke for her investors and well-wishers. COVID came, graphic designer messing up, social media, she just went, what is this? Give me this stuff, Jerry, and she learned it herself and did it herself. That's what entrepreneurs should do. Now, if it's really hard for you, you're not really coordinated, you're too creative, you go, okay, no problem. You can pay for it, if you can pay for it. But if not, teach yourself. But I said, listen, I said comprehension. Comprehension means the ability to listen. And it's secondary school stuff, to listen and understand what is being said and what is not being said. But because we were copying notes and taking dictation, we killed our comprehension ability. So they're dictating the notes. No! Give you context, interpret it. That's how critical thinking is built. And that's how the Oyibo man learns. At least in the good schools. So English must be sound. To be able to write it, to be able to comprehend. Since we cannot really, I don't imagine you understanding business proposal in Yoruba language. It's tough. Except you're translating the Bible or something, but it's not going to be possible. Are we together? The second one is for the analytical side, mathematics. Now, some people are like, oh, Emmanuel, that's not possible. Well, unfortunately, you still need to know the basics. You need to still know ratios. So if I say what percentage, look at this. Look at this. Look at this. A man farms a plot of land or can clear a plot of land in 8 hours. How many hours will it take if 3 men are added to the project? Let me blow your mind. We were doing a project for one of the richest men in this country. Biggest fish farm. And we had to calculate the population density of the fish to be able to optimize their living. So there's population density. Where did we get that from? New General Mathematics. I'm not kidding you guys. They paid us now. I went to go and see him in Abuja now. And it's a very popular, if I call his name, like, yes! Well, population density, where did it come from? It's the mathematics. Why? Because the fish have to, they grow to a certain point. So you need to know the size of the aquarium, the size of the pond. And then do all the calculations. Let's not even get to the oxygen and other things. So that when the guy from Australia came and started speaking, you start remembering your physics, your chemistry, your biology. That's when I'll read when I have time. So for some of you, let me give you a trick. Cousins, nephews, nieces, and neighbors, start doing their homework for them now. Become their lesson teacher free of charge. That's how you reschool yourself in that area. Listen, guys, if you come to the workplace, that is what the whole work is bordered on. All this stuff I'm saying about 40 million is based on this analysis. So when you're leading financial statements, you're able to compare ratios. So you say, okay, why is our salary 20% of our revenues? Is that industry standard? No, it's too high. How can we cut it to 50%, which is the industry standard for our industry? That's analytical thinking. It's ratios and proportions. Or you want to tell you about sets? Set A, universal set A, set B. That's market sizing, men, women, and children. And then you find intersection where all three will buy. Number 3, so that you can see road, get a mentor, a non-celebrity mentor. So what does that mean? Don't come and chase people like us. We don't have your time. Not because we are feeling arrogant. How many can I attend to? So go to people that they are unknown, and usually they're in silos. So for my accounting and my finance, is that my boring pastor? Not in this church. My boring former, I don't want to mention some churches, where I left to come here. That guy is a sound accountant. You just wonder, nobody, because they're not on social media, nobody knows them, but they are sound. They know their stuff. First class graduate at mathematics. That guy will tell you, oh, okay, you go with apples, fruits. Oh, my daddy, I brought something. Daddy, come and show me this. Where do I start? Of course, if he's going off tangent, bring him back. He will now explain stuff to you. He fix your maths. English language. Is that my auntie in Sele that I don't know? Let me go. She's a sound English teacher. She's always correcting my grammar. Auntie, where do I start? Or you go to YouTube. Or you go and lead Khan Academy. Or go and struggle with primary, secondary school to review. And if you're struggling with secondary school math, go back to primary and bring it back. Now, you don't have to do quadratic equation, even though that chart was quadratic equation. You don't have to do the other complex one like angle of elevation and depression. You're not an architect or a pilot. But I think you have to do ratios and proportions. Those ones are important. Percentages. That thing is a killer. It's so important. CBN will say compound interest. They give you loan. You don't understand. Next thing you're wondering why you're broke. You're paying compound interest, not simple interest. Do you understand? And it happened to a lot of us in the membership. He said loan is 10% per annum. Microfinance bank per month. Sorry. Are you joking? That's 120%. But we didn't know, we'll pay back. No, pay what? And then boom, the economy shut down. Basic. So, mentors, I now said you may not get it all in one person. So you have to get them in silos. And I'll tell you how, I'll come to that, right? Help me, Lord. So, mentors. And I said, stay away from saying, oh, very big woman. I want to be your mentor. How will she be your mentor? Is it even unfair? Who are you? Except the Lord speaks to her. It's not fair. She has too many people to attend to. Have you attended no virtue? That's why Elisha told him that if you see me, go. And he kept telling him, get away. It's deliberate. That's how you get. That's mentors say, can you pay the price? You want me to transfer double to you? Are you okay? Double. There were other schools, there were other prophets that were chasing him. Why didn't they follow? Because Elijah was a hard man. He was a rasman. Hello, widow. Please, I need food. What kind of wicked prophet is that? Your pastor should tell you here you're broke. Say, he comes and say, Daddy, pastor, I need to transfer money. Remove your shoe and sell it and give me the money. You will tell him he's mad. That was Elijah for you. Okay, pastor, I've lost them. I've entered my field, one that is not my field, so they're lost. I'm trying to say that I'm not saying you're going to be meeting tormentors. What I'm saying is, those guys can't mentor you. The price is too heavy. I can't go and meet this around me. If I will get a mentor, I want to pay a price. Let me look for someone who's more down to earth, that can give me time. Now, I'm not saying you can't ask important people to mentor. You could, if you can. For whatever reason, I said maybe he's chasing your sister or your cousin who wants to marry her. He will give you time. That's an incentive. Yes, assuming they are both unmarried. Are you following what I'm saying? That one, collect that mentorship. The guy is coming to you, where do you work? Come and mentor me before you marry my sister, Jerry. 3, read seasonal books. Or 4, sorry. Now, seasonal books, God help me, time. Seasonal books are, and I'm stopping like after this point. After this second to last point, and then last point, and I'll close. No, I'm serious, like 1 minute. Let me close it. So that you know I'm serious. Seasonal books. Pastor, the problem about the wisdom of reading books is you can't read all the books. I'll tell you the hack. Books are like foods. They have to eat, they digest, and if you don't have constipation, they enter your bloodstream and they circulate. Here is the trick and the hack. You may have to read more than one book. So you may have to read a book more than once to get it. So for me, in my season of my life, I have a few. So I'll just take them, like Steve Jobs' biography. I'm going to go for 5 times for that one. After the Bible, because Bible is standard, everything. So 5 times, because that guy did something. So I want to understand and decode. That's why the Bible says meditate on this. The reason why the Bible says you repetitive is because the Bible actually understands, in my opinion, among other reasons, that repetitiveness is what makes you become it. It translates you. That's why you listen to Tupac so much, you start sagging. Do you understand? It's not as if he told you to sag. So that's why he says you have to read the Bible and meditate on it there, so that it will enter you, to marinate into your system. You can ask the other fellow brothers in other religions why it's very hard to get them out. Because it's marinated from childhood. So you can't afford to be racing to read book or finish book. How many people have read 10 books this month? And then what have you become? But 2, the books also have to be connected to your priority per time. So the books I'm reading now are about startups, because I'm starting up and I'm unlearning a lot of things I learned. A lot of the consulting principles I had are not relevant for startup. They are like this. So I'm being humbled to be taught by people that are younger than me and explain stuff to me. But I have to learn because I want to be a startup founder, a tech founder. Not because I want to, because that's the path we've chosen. So the books are seasonal. You pick them carefully, and a mentor can help, and exposure. But the last but not the least, and this is the one that really, if you do and don't do anything else, you'll be fine, is you need to read news. Now, Pastor Femi is a living example. He's my friend and pastor, brother, everything. I don't know if you're sure you heard him speak. He's very sound, he's very broad, even your pastor. They don't mess around with their news. It's a secret that I've been teaching since 2009, when Pastor Lee started enterprising sessions. And I was going around Lagos everywhere telling people, but they're not listening. Until just last week, my biggest mentor, no, this was no mentor, it's past mentor, maybe I'll meet him, Icon, Reid Hoffman. That's the founder of LinkedIn. One of the biggest, he was one of the people that believed in these ChatGPT guys and led them to invest. Reid Hoffman. They don't know him. He's a wholesale celebrity. You know what a wholesale celebrity is? It's where all the retail celebrities run to. So a retail celebrity is someone that has thousands of followers, plenty of people, 1.5, 2 million followers. But at night, they go to Jesus Christ, like Nicodemus, say, how far, show us the way. The wholesale celebrity. He doesn't have followers. He don't even know social media. But on them, Sabi. So Reid Hoffman is a wholesale celebrity. Now, that's the guy don't worry. That's how much you do here. If you think I'm smart, I'll be dumb in front of this guy. But Reid Hoffman, look, not too hard on yourself, man. All right, Reid Hoffman, he's producer of his show. It's called Masters of Scale, where he's brought all the big boys that scale technology companies, unicorns. He said he's recommending that people read news. Ladies and gentlemen, go to podcasts, because you need to know whether you are a listener or a reader. I'm a listener. Go to podcasts. Everything BBC, consume it like food. Everything BBC. BBC, I'm doing free advert for you. They did not send me. Every BBC is in my opinion, at the point of this meeting, 17th or 18th of February 2023, BBC is the richest archive of wisdom and knowledge for anybody that wants to understand the world and how things work. The BBC.com website is deeply rich. The BBC podcast, whether it's business, politics, documentaries, would open your mind. You need context. Some of your mind, respectively, is like this. It's not an insult. We can't have a conversation. But some people, it's like the size of this room. From any point you hit them, they can take it. They can explain to you how Russia-Ukraine war would affect Ogun State government. That's when you can have a conversation with the governor of Ogun State. So that when you see them, you say, sir, how are you? No. You have depth. He will send for you. That's why David was in the backside of the desert. Abeokuta, respectfully speaking, I know you guys should not take it personal, is a type and a shadow of a backside desert. There are less distractions. It's not a disadvantage. That's where you build your ability to play the harp when they will send for you in Lagos. But you don't know. You're distracting and enemy people in Lagos who are confused and running the rat race. This is the backside of it, where your skills are harnessed. This is when you have time to consume BBC. You're on strike. Chop it. So the BBC.com website, all the tabs you can read. You can skip the stuff that you don't like. Right? Rihanna is pregnant. That's not your business. There you see your pestle in action, political, economic. So you pick one article and you see pestle. You see the geopolitics, you see the economic. So when you see GDP, Google it, what does GDP mean? So that you go for your next interview, they ask you to say, yes, well, I understand what GDP means. When you see hyperinflation, what does that mean? You check your understanding. When you say economies of Ghana, so that tomorrow the interview you go for, they tell you that they are based in Ghana but don't open a Nigerian office, you can start a conversation with them about Ghana's economy because you read it on BBC. The Lord bless you and keep you and cause his face to shine upon you.
For the very first time, I'm so happy and satisfied that I found my tribe and that they force it down your throat. I was so happy. I was just like, I said, I'm enjoying, leave the time. For the very first time. Very first time. Okay. So let's do the question and answer. Bring the chairs. For the very first time. You know, I told you, see, this social media celebrity culture, social media is designed to celebrate shallowness rather than depth. I like what he said. I like that. I wrote it down.